Hey y'all, how's it going? In today's video, we will be manual swapping the Vette truck, right? So I am very excited to manual swap this rig. So realistically, this was only supposed to take me a day. So I blew up the transmission in this truck. So second and fourth gear, basically gone. They left the chat. It's a 4L60E, motor's got a cam in it. That's pretty common to see that happening with these trucks. So figured I'd take this opportunity and manual swap it. I've always wanted a manual truck, and my brother's Silverado has an NV4500 in it, 4-wheel drive, and that truck is very fun to drive. And I don't know, that's just kind of what I want for this thing. I want it to be more fun to drive. So I went out and I found a good deal on a manual transmission, lots of these, and it was pretty cheap. I paid $1,200 for it. Usually they're going about $2,200 for the working transmission. I'm like, what's the worst that could happen? The guy pulled it out, said it kept popping out of third and fourth gear, or it would get stuck in third and fourth gear. That's what he said. Turns out I tear into the transmission, and the 3/4 shift bracket, or whatever you call it, that bad boy was cracked on the two sides of it, and it had fallen into the transmission and blown apart every single bearing and sync rod inside there. So that was great. So I take apart this whole transmission, get some money back. So he gave me $400 back. Here I am getting ready to build a manual transmission. So it's been a month now. The truck's been down, and I'm itching to get back in it and be driving it again, but we got a lot of work ahead of us. So I'll insert some clips of me building the trans. I didn't record the entire thing because it's building the transmission. You know, there's plenty of videos out there except for the transmission that I have, but most I mean, there's plenty of videos out there on the NV4500 and how to rebuild it. I specifically have the like after 98, so like the late style NV4500 that's 4-wheel drive, and apparently there's 0 videos online about this thing. So I just went off with some of the Dodge videos and kind of flew blind for the 5th gear and the 5th gear nut and all that, and then yeah, I basically slapped it together. Hey guys, past me here. Here is what remains of my NV4500 transmission. Just want to give a quick update for the future when I make this video. Pick this thing up, and it turns out that the shift fork broke off both ears, and it fell into the transmission and destroyed some bearings and a bunch of other stuff, but the gears seem to be okay. We're going to try to salvage as much of this as possible, but it's really starting to piss me off because some things that were supposed to just slide off didn't. Like this 5th gear did not just slide off. I think somebody glued it on, and then that's why, but I don't know. I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure someone glued a lot of this transmission together just because of the way it's been treating me. I don't know. All I know is that it's not really coming apart the way it's supposed to. It's supposed to come apart real nice and easy, but it hasn't been. I've been fighting it. 4L60E finally went in this thing, so this is what we're going to do about it. But first, it's been raining. But, I mean, it's just full of carnage. Full of metal shavings. Really, yeah, it was not good. Just full of chunks. Little piece that came off of that. I had to cut the 5th gear nut off because someone covered it in Loctite, so that was cool. And most of the bearings have been falling apart on me. That's a piece of the bearing right there. Just because they got chewed up so bad from those parts falling into the transmission, the metal parts. But we'll get it figured out. I'm gonna clean this up, and then we're gonna order parts. And then next weekend, I'll put it all on a table and put the whole transmission together, which hopefully it should go together way easier than it came apart. All right, guys, so here's the current setup. We're gonna hit it with brake clean, clean all this up. I have to figure out how to get this bearing housing, or whatever this is called, off. So I'll have to get creative with that. We're gonna clean all that out, try to keep maybe the keys, and just get as much metal cleaned out of this as possible. The whole inside of this is silver from shredded aluminum, basically. I won't record all of this because it's pretty self-explanatory. Gotta get sand off the top of that. Oh, it's way better already. Way better. Anyways, I'm gonna get to cleaning, so see y'all later. All right, I'm about halfway through cleaning this, and you can see there's still like a lot of metal in there. I don't know if y'all can see that, but like I was obligated to just put this back together and toss it in because it really seems like there's nothing wrong with this here. Obviously it's got a lot of scoring that you can catch your finger on because there was straight metal just running through this transmission. But the reason I don't just toss it back in is because I don't know what kind of metal is underneath all of this. So I will continue cleaning this as I pull it apart. Well, not as I pull it apart, but before I put it all back together, I will clean it up even more. It looks like there's not really much of an issue with these gears. There's no chips taken out of them, and there's no super bad scoring on these. I will say though, the counter shaft, I don't know if the camera will pick it up, but I will say the counter shaft does have quite a bit of marks in here. Some pretty deep gouges, really just scoring all over the freaking thing. But it did clean up pretty nice. So I'm gonna clean it more, of course, before I put it back together. I'm sure some geezer would be like, hey, you need to replace that counter shaft. You need to replace the input shaft. You need to replace all the shafts. You need to replace the main shaft. I'm not gonna do that. I'm kind of broke. I'm very broke, actually. So I'm gonna make do with what I got. And I mean, this transmission had some carnage run through it, but this is some strong stuff. You know, I'm not too, like, it might make a little noise. Oh well. I'm not too worried about this being the reason that the transmission blows up. Like, really the only reason that the transmission failed was because it dropped that shift fork and it destroyed one of the bearings. Like, once I pulled that bad bearing out, the rest of the transmission turned just fine. Did want to show you this. Look at all the nastiness that came out of there. That's from the bottom of the case. That rag's good for nothing right there. Oh, don't owe me anything. All right, we got the case cleaned up. It's looking okay. It's pretty beat up. Nothing we can't make do with. All right, y'all. So as you can see, I'm running into a dilemma here. This bearing puller doesn't have anything to grab onto. So I'm just gonna weld it together. Who would have thought? It's welding very nicely. We will give that a shot. Oh boy, she popped off. I think this is gonna take a couple tries. Try it again. Oh, popped off again, huh. So it kept popping off. I kept welding it back on. My welds must not be that strong, but beating it like this with a hammer seems to be doing a trick. For now. I don't know if this is going to be usable after I'm done with it, but you know, I can't get it off. If I can't get it off, I can't use it anyway, so. I don't know if it'll be usable after this. All right, finally got this bearing off. What a bitch. So I tried getting this bearing off, having a tough time, figured I'd work on something else. So now I'm trying to get this gear off. I just, I'm not understanding, like, did the last guy, like, glue stuff together or something? Like, I'm not understanding why it's being such a pain. I'm not understanding. So I've been whacking on this thing with a big old 5-pound hammer, not coming loose. This part is pressed on, but it's still not supposed to be this difficult to get off. And this also, been whacking this with a 5-pound hammer, not coming off. This, I believe, is also pressed on. I think this transmission got really hot at this point. That's what I'm thinking happened. But got out the grinder. I saw a trick on the internet on how to get these bearings off. And we're gonna try it out. You basically just cut an X in the bearing and it should crack loose. A lot has happened since I picked up the camera last. I got all brand new parts from both Transparts Warehouse and Port King 4x4. I got clutch pedals, got everything. Here's what I'm doing right now. I had a buddy come over and help me out with this. Since the last time I picked up the camera, me and the girlfriend had gotten this shaft completely apart. Here's the old one. Got everything off. I inspected all of the gears and figured out what I needed to replace. Like this and this thing with teeth blown off of it. all this shit. And then also 5th gear spacer. I've went out and bought all of the parts. All the brand new parts. These are used, but they're good. I can still use these, so I'm gonna use them. And then, yeah, so we put this together. Everything spins freely, because that's how you want it. That spins freely, I promise. We got tons of new parts to continue to put on. We got bearings to drive on. But yeah, so I'm gonna finish putting together the actual transmission part, drive bearings on, put the parts inside of the housing, get everything ready to go. Then I gotta fix this top cover. I gotta drill these out, take that slide out, put a new piece on, because this is what caused all the damage in the first place. So I got a new part of that, because this top cover, 630 bucks, the whole dang thing. And if you're wondering, this is the bearing housing I took off today. Housing, whatever this thing's called. Yeah, so I got this one off. Clearly, this puppy got very hot. It's kind of hard to see. That's why it was on there so good. And I also did get into this one with the grinder a little bit, but oh well. But I'm still gonna use that because that's like 250 bucks and I don't wanna buy one, even though she's a little worn. And then I'll throw this together and then I'll be putting it in the truck. Also, while I'm doing all this, long range gear, this guy, I could kiss him on the mouth. He knows his shit. Before I go to bed, I did try to get the shaft in, but I'm having bearing clearance issues. I'm just having end play issues. Like, it's not sitting all the way down. So I'm kind of stumped on this. I don't know what to do. I figured it out. So the problem I was having was because the bearing wasn't seated fully, because apparently if you use the 5th gear spacer to whack it on there, it actually hits on the bottom side, kind of like that. So your bearing isn't fully seated down there. So now it's fully seated. I kind of went in there painstakingly because this bearing is driven on and fully seated, so you can't pull the countershaft out. So I painstakingly held the case to the side and whacked the bearing on the rest of the way. So it should be all set now. Alright, y'all. This bad boy is starting to look like a transmission now. I don't have it sealed up yet. I just put this on for mock-up to see if it'd go through all the gears. 5th gear is a little sticky, like when I try to turn the input shaft, but I think it'll be okay. I mean, it'll wear itself in. It'll create its own tolerances. Other than that, the rest of it, freaking awesome. Turns out with these Chevrolets, they're not sealed inside here, so you are gonna have a gasket. If it's this came out of 2006, I believe. I'm gonna put some RTV on here, and then it'll be ready to throw in the truck. It looks freaking great. It's wonderful. It's a beautiful thing. So here we are. That brings us to today. Just finished the transmission last night. It's all slapped together, ready to go. Here you can see some of the bearing carnage that we've got going on. The place is just a mess. I got the whole place a mess. Haven't put the bell housing on yet. Here's some of the old parts that came off of it. Input shaft is probably fine, but I decided to go ahead and replace that. Obviously, the guy sold me some swap parts since it was a part out, and turns out the last guy absolutely reamed out every single decent part on this thing and extended the thing and freaking did this and that and just fucked it all up real bad. So, but I will try his clutch. I have a new clutch on top. Bought this years ago for my old truck that I was trying to manual swap. Turns out there's no spots for dowel pins to go in, and that shit's pretty important. I mean, there's spots, but they don't fucking line up with the flywheel. And they sold this as a package, by the way, with whatever that is. Said it was some stage 3. I'm gonna do this again. Stage 3 LS clutch for a 4.8 liter. Yeah, clearly this ain't I don't know. Clearly it didn't work right. I wonder how many people bought this and threw it together and how many people are driving around without dowel pins in their shit. See, they gave you the dowel pins right here, but there's no holes. Anyway, so I might use this guy's stuff. You can see where the dowel pin's supposed to be right there. And I already have the carpet ripped back in the interior. And I've already drilled some guide holes for where I'm going to cut in the floor. I went and bought all the tools, the hole saw. I have a 2.5-inch hole saw that I'm gonna try for underneath the hood here. I've already pulled all my like AFR gauge controller wiring. I had it all sitting right here. I already pulled all this back, pulled these off. There was a piece of fiberglass insulator that you just rip off on the dotted lines, top and bottom, and you just pull that bad boy out, and that's what I did. And I also unplugged this for better access. And there's a nice little indent right down there where we need to drill. And factory Chevrolet, they went and did that. Theoretically, I was gonna get this done over a day. It's been well over a month. I actually have to go to work pretty soon here. I'm gonna be working on it slowly as it goes on. I have a trip coming up that I wanna take this truck on. I basically have 2 weeks, give or take, to get it done. So I think today I'm gonna start by cutting the hole in the firewall, and then we'll see where we get from there. By the way, I would like to say real quick, that whole spiel earlier, that included the guy that sold me the transmission. He didn't know the transmission was bad, and he actually did give me some money back, even though I wish it would have been more, but you know, I get it. Guy ain't got $1 million, neither do I. And you know, he didn't think for a second the fact that it would be that bad. He had no idea, as far as I know. All right, so I picked up this hole saw kit from Harbor Freight. It was $57, insane. Came with this thing. This doesn't fit any drills, so I went and I got this, and I think was it 7/16, something like that, man. Yeah, 7/16 fits in there. I'm gonna use this drill. I might bust out the impact maybe, and I'm gonna try to fish that in there first, and I'll let you know what kind of iteration I come up with. Here's my clutch pedal, by the way. Had to be brand new. Went to the hardware store and got those nuts for it. We're gonna set this in here for now. It'd honestly be nice to get the clutch pedal in like as soon as we drill the holes, to be honest. We should do that. So I have no idea how I'm gonna get you in here to drill this hole, but I'm gonna try my hardest. It's doing the thing. All right, y'all, so the little Hercules drill couldn't handle it. You couldn't hang. Got pretty hot, still is pretty hot. So I got out the Big Daddy DeWalt, and she got her done. Well, almost done. She's almost ready to come out. I think I'm just gonna grab it and bend it out of there because this thing's getting stuck now. All the bugs out here today are just chewing on me, dude. There we go. See, it is things like this that hold me up. Like, I've been trying to get that in there for 45 minutes now, and I can't seem to figure it out just yet. I'll let y'all know when I do figure it out, but for now I'm gonna switch gears and start cutting holes. All right, guys, so I didn't really film this because it was gonna be I knew it was gonna be a pain, and I just wanted it done, but I cut a hole in the floor. Basically, I think it's 1 7/8 inches from the sides. It's hacked up. I did an absolute hack job on all of this on the interior portion, but we have a boot that'll cover that up. And then up here, gosh, that's hard to see. I did try the grinder first and cut a little box in the bottom of that. But what you need is a hole right there. You can see where I drilled that god-awful hole. So you need that so that you can hold your nuts up there so that you can bolt your clutch pedal in, or else you're just gonna have a rough time trying to bolt it in there. And then also you can see the hole I drilled for the master cylinder is right there, and it looks a little wonky. Hopefully it'll be all right, but the interior portion should be basically done. I still gotta cut the carpet, but that's not too hard. Next, I'm gonna start working. I might throw the clutch pedal in at some point just to get that in there, but next I'm gonna start pulling drive shafts out and getting ready to drop this transmission. It is another day here, and it just got done raining. Also, the truck almost caught on fire on me. This stuff is quite flammable, very flammable, especially this. If you have like leaves in there, no, it's kind of hard to see into the void, but there's leaves in there that started smoking and stuff. So this towel, since it was raining, I just dried my car off with it and threw it in here just in case. I also grabbed a fire extinguisher. Yeah, it started smoking. Threw the towel on top of it. It was all good. Hey there, Mr. Fuel Line. Be careful when you're cutting this shit, I guess. Hey guys, I'm back. Now that it's midnight and I'm finally home from work, I'm gonna start working on dropping this trans. Now, I'll probably not drop it tonight because I got work tomorrow, but I'm gonna try to do some of it and try to get, like, at least get drive shafts out and get some exhaust off and things like that. All right, we'll give this a shot now, huh? The truck's only got 90,000 miles on it. Why wouldn't it come apart? That's righty-tighty. I'm an idiot. Oh, she's coming off. Oh yeah, easy. Maybe it's just because I was trying to go the wrong way. Let's try this one. Oh yeah. No, she's coming right off. They say the NV4500 is 2 inches shorter than the 4L60E, so we're gonna find out if that's actually true or not. Give her a tappy tap. Oh, this drive shaft doesn't fall on my head. Oh my goodness. Oh, there we go. There we go. This drive shaft has not been out of this truck yet, so it is not happy to be coming out. Alright, so the good news about this drive shaft is that I've had it out before, and it was actually about 10,000 miles ago. Oh yeah, look at that. She's nice and loosey-goosey for us. Oh my goodness. Again. There we go. That's good. That's good stuff. This is the probably the easiest thing I'm gonna do on this entire truck. Is pull these drive shafts out. I've never had such a good time pulling drive shafts out. Okay. There we go. How about that? Alright, so now we're going to start undoing the exhaust. So I got out the Big Daddy D-Walt here. Just going to start pulling this apart. Hopefully, oh, this sand in my eyes. Hopefully I can slide this pipe back so I can actually get to the V-band clamp. We'll see. Ugh, I love V-band clamps and I hate them at the same time. They're a beautiful thing, but they don't work sometimes. One's stuck on there pretty good. There we go. That one's off. There we go. Okay, got out the speed ratchet. And I think the other one, oh, the other one requires a wrench. I remember now. Damn, who designed this exhaust system, bro? This is the worst. Golly. Golly. I'm glad that's holding on so tight. Too bad it's leaking. This is like the little update video of the exhaust. Like showing you guys how well it's doing. It's still better than most, I would say. Definitely started leaking, which is not ideal. And they hold on pretty good apparently. There we go. It's coming off now. Off sesame. I'm gonna redesign this exhaust. Not up here, just the rest of it. Let's see if I can get to this one up here now. Hope you can see it. just one of those things that goes together like almost as easy as it comes apart, really. It's kind of a pain in the ass both ways. There we go, one side. Two side. Perfect. Now we can get to this one. Now I pull it up here. Let's see. I forgot I tied that exhaust pipe to the truck. Whoops. Rest of this. Oh yeah, she's coming out. Let's get you right back up again, huh? Oh yeah, there she is. Oh, forgot about that. We don't need to worry about no wideband. There we go, baby. Rust up my sleeve. Quite the intricate exhaust system. God awful though. But it works. It's pretty good. Okay, sweet. Oh, that's a humongous crack. Did not know that existed. That's definitely where it's leaking from then. I have to weld that back up. Look, it's cracked right there too. Oh my God. Glad I saw that. I know you can't see it right now, but there's a connector right there. We gotta undo. Oh, that was easy. Just came out. Alright, so I literally just broke my GoPro mount and it's getting late, so I'm gonna just try to show you guys what I'm doing. Up under here, I believe we need a screwdriver. So this thing, what is this, for my transfer case? Is this the thing right here? Yeah, that's been falling off on its own, so that's good. That's off now. And this, so we have our gear selector here, I believe, which is covered in trans fluid because my shit been leaking. Gotta unplug that, which I believe this has our neutral safety switch in it, maybe. I think that right there is our neutral safety switch and reverse light indicator. The neutral safety switch needs to get swapped to the clutch pedal, and the reverse light indicator needs to be swapped to the transmission if you want to do that shit correctly. I don't know how to do it correctly. I mean, maybe I'll figure it out, maybe I won't, but I know I just want it running. I don't really need reverse lights. I do need a neutral safety switch. It's gonna be what it's gonna be. I'm gonna get this off. Pull down on this. I think that's all it has to get pulled down. It's gotta go no further. Just like that. Wow, what the hell is that contraption? Whatever, it's off now. Cool. What else have we got? Got a couple brackets and stuff up here. Big thing's gonna be this. Transmission lines. Wait, this will just pop off on it. Let's see here, will that just pop off? Yes, it will. So obviously this is gonna hang out underneath the truck once we're done with the swap. This plus the, what else do we got? Oh my God, that thing's rusted off. Oh, this is zip tied on, no? Wait. No, it would have rusted out a lot slower if that transmission fluid was there. Is it? Yeah, that's completely rusted off there. Holy katoot. Frickin' Michigan trucks, I tell you, bud. It's almost like it's my... It's funny, it seems like this is my first time pulling a transmission, but I literally just did this shit like 2 months ago. So this is like a little steel clip, I guess. Pull up like a staple, almost. I'm assuming it's in the other side too. Rusted out, gone. This truck literally, oh my God, it just crumbled right there. This truck literally doesn't have that many miles on it. I don't know why the hell. Running into all these issues, man. With rust, like these things are freaking just gone, man. I got that off. I'm basically going to, like, this wire harness stuff, I'm gonna bag it up and zip tie it up in case I ever want to throw another 4L60E in this thing. So I'm pretty sure in HP tuners, I'm pretty sure, don't quote me, if you want to swap to a manual transmission, you just have to click a box, right? So when you plug it in, you go in there and click a box. Click the box that says manual. If you want to switch back to a 4L60E, like this thing's, it'll just go back to normal as far as I know. So we're just gonna zip tie this up out of the way, the gear selector, and the wiring harness up there, which I hope you saw me pull, and this. And then also the transmission lines I am gonna keep, but if we ever switch back, I do want to get all the toasted fluid out of this and my trans cooler. Scratch all of that. These transmission lines are junk. There is a hole in this trans line. I bet this transmission is not even bad. I bet this transmission is still fine, because this hole, and I'm sure it got burned up pretty good, but the trans fluid's still red. But this hole in the trans line, it must have leaked out all of its fluid. So I was looking at all this, thinking, what the hell, why is this all full of trans fluid, right? And you know, I put these headers in and they're touching. And there's a hole right here, right where that was touching. I wish I could show it to you guys, but wow, that's what took out this transmission. All right, so I've got basically everything disconnected. Just got the torque converter bolts out, which were, you know how they go. They're a huge pain in the ass. Anyways, I don't think my jack is tall enough to reach the transmission from here, being that it has a lift kit on it and everything. So I think I'm gonna try to find some boards and stuff put on there and just balance the 4L60 and transfer case on it. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. I am more worried about the NV4500 though, because the transfer case, I'm gonna have to put it on first because it's just a bitch to put it on in the truck. So I'm gonna put that on with it, and then I'm gonna try to jack it all up at once and see how that goes. It's the next day. While I was underneath the truck yesterday trying to pull transmission bolts, I had a freaking metal sliver fall into my eyeball, and it still hurts really bad. Might have to go to the hospital. I don't know, I just kind of said to hell with it and stopped working on it for the day. But now today, about getting ready for work, I'm gonna try again to make an attempt to stick that clutch pedal in, but I think there's 5 bolts left, including the bottom 2. It's really been a pain trying to get. I'm really struggling getting to these bolts here. I don't know what to do about it really, except for just struggle through it. My impact does not fit. All the other 4L60Es I've pulled out have been out of different style trucks and shit. I've never pulled one out of a truck that's this tight up against a trans, I would say. Alright, so quick update for you guys. I got the clutch pedal in, hooked up to the master right now. It was kind of a pain, you know, it was a pain to get it in there. Up in there, it took me 6,000, you probably can't even see it. It took me 6,000 years to get the freaking little nuts in there. And I had to drill that hole so I can fit my finger in there and finagle them around. But I'm also probably gonna shoot a self-tapper up top so we don't have any issues, because there is supposed to be a bolt that goes in the top of this. And then I also did an absolute hack job and cut off my brake pedal. That's good enough for the women we date. That's what it looks like with the master in. That just clips into, basically like clips into that. Like you put it in, twist it, and it stays. So pretty easy, pretty self-explanatory. And then right now I'm taking these tires off because my truck sits way too high for the jack to be able to reach the actual transmission. So I'm gonna drop it down, put it on some jack stands. Well, that's pretty low to the ground if you ask me. Just sitting on that ball joint right there, which isn't that good, but I think the jack stand's also holding it up as well at the same time. So, but this side is good. I don't know why it's different, but this will have to do. And now the jack should be able to reach the transmission pretty darn easy, so I'm excited about that. I think I'm gonna pull out the transfer case and then pull the transmission out. It's probably just gonna be a lot easier that way. All right, so I got the transfer case loose, finally. It's a real bitch. Leaking all this burnt fluid all over the place. You know, puked a bunch out of there. I'm gonna try to pull this out. I think I can bench press this. I don't know. We're gonna find out. I'd rather not have it fall on my head though. Ooh, a bunch of stuff out of here. Get shit out of my way. This puppy's like ready to come out right now. All right, well, this bad boy is pretty heavy. I almost did not have it. I had it come down right on top of me. Good thing I had it. Yeah. All the fluid on the ground is cooked alive. I had a little bit of hope for this transmission. Definitely no more hope. It is definitely very cooked. So next, basically, all we have left to do is trans lines, and then I think 7 bolts. We'll pull this bad boy out. Okay, so a lot of guys worry about dropping the transmission down so far that a lot of guys worry about dropping the transmission down too far, and then they're like, oh, the engine hits the radiator. We're gonna find out if that's true, because I'm not gonna hold back from dropping this thing down pretty far. Set it right on the cross member. Wow, okay, so I can see the actual bell housing bolts now. Before I could not see them. So it is nice to see. Okay, that's far enough. Perfect. Oh, that just came off. Easy. You know why they call them oh shit clips? Because if you forget to put them in, that's the first thing you say. I do like going from the top and just cutting the piss out of my wrists on the jagged edges where I ground out the floor. It is one of my favorite pastime activities. It is a good time for a story. One time, my buddies, right, we were doing a engine swap in one of his in his truck. Because it had a blown up engine. He bought it with a blown up 6-liter, built a 6-liter, a custom one for it, and we took the weekend. I didn't do that much work on it, but my other buddies did. I was just hanging out pretty much with them, and we took the weekend and we put the engine in the truck, and we went out and took it out to tune it. First night we're all up, it's an extended cab Silverado. We're all up in the cab, and it starts like lurching on full throttle pulls. Like, shit, man, what's the issue? Get out, look under the hood. One of these old shit clips, we forgot to put it on the radiator. So the trans line popped off and threw all of our transmission fluid all over the road, all over the engine, everything. So we had to sit on the side of the road. And at the time, the truck had no plates, no insurance, and it was a holiday weekend. So like a million cops passed us and never stopped to ask questions or anything about the truck while we were sitting on the side of the road trying to get transmission fluid for it. But that was pretty fun. It was a fun night. Then the rocker arm popped off because someone didn't torque them down, and then we thought I had a rod knock and brought it back, put it all together, and been a good truck ever since, I would say. Yay! So right now I'm running into an issue trying to get this bell housing bolt out. This dipstick tube is you know, actually I haven't looked inside of this thing. Yeah, cooked. Anyways, this dipstick tube bolted to a bell housing stud slash bolt thingy. And I'm just struggling to get it out of the way. It just does not want to move. Everything on this truck is definitely an uphill battle, that's for sure. So I'm trying to reach in here and move it out of the way. But not having much luck. Because obviously it just springs back because it's connected to the freaking inside of the transmission. So, you know, if anybody has any tips for this, for anyone in the future, let me know, you know, things like that. Tell you what, I can't see what I'm doing at all, but Jesus Christ, like, you know, this is such a pain. I'm gonna fiddle with it more off camera. Doing one of these numbers. We go up, flip the wrench around, go up. Hopefully y'all can see that pretty good. Very relaxing. Okay, we got it out. It's kind of hard to see. You know what it looks like. Well, that just came right out. Cool. Here we go. Last one. Okay. There's that. Let's see what happens now. Alright, got stuff moving. Really? What could possibly be holding on? Okay. No way I'm still missing something. So it sounds to me like my dowel pins are stuck. And I went around and whacked it with a hammer a couple times. We'll see what that did. I'm hearing some clicking going on, like it is separated now, but I cannot tell. Crowbar time. Like, dude, how's it held on still, man? I got all of the bolts out. Dude, have you guys ever had this issue? If you have, how have you fixed it? There we go. There's one side off the dowel pin. The dowel pins are the parts that are stuck, apparently. Nightmare transmission removal, dude. It's weird. Ugh, there we go. She's off. Yeah, baby. Praying to God that freaking putting the new transmission in this is not going to be as hard as pulling this one out was. Oh yeah. Of course it's oil, I don't want to go anywhere. Fuck that transmission. Fuck it. It's junk, man. Transmission junk, dude. So, I love this because it bolts in from this side and has a nice little spot here for my slave cylinder. So, I'm just extremely excited for this because that means I can bolt the bell housing on and do all this and then slide my trans up in there and just bolt it on with the bell housing already installed. I think it's gonna work, and I think it's gonna be 10 times easier than all that rigmarole that I just did. All right, guys, so I just pulled my transmission out. I put the bell housing on just to measure it because, like I said, these are 2 inches shorter than those, right? At least that's what I've been told, but that does not seem to be the case. It turns out that these transmissions are both roughly 27 inches long, and both mounts fall at about 24 inches. So I'm assuming that this should just go right on to the original mount. Obviously I need to get the 15s off of this, which are not playing nice. I'm gonna have to get out the torch for these. Hot potato. All right. Yep, beautiful. Okay, problem, big problem. Well, let me take a look here. Alright guys, this is a bad time to find out, but as it turns out, this transfer case is not going to work for us. It does not have the correct splines inside of it. So, dang, I did not realize that they would be different. I'm very sad about that. So now I have to find a transfer case, and I gotta find it pretty quick. It's kind of a slap in the face. I was trying to get it done today, but you know, nothing on this whole project has gone smoothly. You know, what did I expect? But we are gonna overcome this. All right, y'all, it's the next day. I got a little bit of time. I'm just cleaning up little odds and ends and stuff. I located a transfer case. It's called a 261 HD. Pretty positive that's the one that came behind the NV4500 after, I think, 1999 or 2000. This is a 261 LD, and the one we need is a 261 HD. 32 spline input. I don't know if the outputs are the same. Hopefully the outputs are the same, so I don't have to buy a new drive shaft. If they're not the same, then I'm gonna have to buy a new drive shaft because I don't really have any other option here. And I think, what, 5 days now it's gotta be running? I don't know if we're gonna make it, to be honest with you. I don't know if we're gonna make it, but I'm freaking trying, man. That's a little update on that. Hopefully we go pick that up today. All right, so this looks like a bone stock unit from 2006. Looks like everything It's all stock, but he did say there's a newer clutch in there. So we're gonna pop this thing open and take a look. Those are not 13s. That flywheel looks like it's toasted. I think I can reuse that unit. And these look fairly similar, so I could probably reuse this one. And but I can't tell which of these clutches is better. Clutches, friction discs, or whatever. I don't know, it's hard to say. This one seems okay. I can't tell if it's new or not though. That's the biggest issue. I might go with this one just because it seems like it goes with that pressure plate there better. Might just toss it together and hope it works, you know? All right, so we're gonna hammer the dowel pins into this. I figure we're gonna use the new flywheel with the old clutch and pressure plate. So I'm gonna tap these dowels in. Perfect. And we're also going to put that in the middle. All right, now that's decided. We will get this underneath the truck. But first, I'm gonna go pick up that transfer case. I'm getting ready to install the pilot bearing in the back of the crankshaft. I'm pretty sure you install it flat side out and then you just hammer it in. And I will be hammering it in there as straight as I can. I think I'm gonna put a little grease inside of it once I put it in, but not too much grease. And start tapping her in there. Be nice to it. Yep, so I'm just gonna tap this in with the socket over top of it as straight as I can. All right, so I've hammered it in so she's flush. I'm gonna put some grease on the inside of that needle bearing. I don't know if you're supposed to grease them or not, but I'm sure a little grease would not help or not hurt. So now I'm gonna spray off the flywheel with brake clean. There's a bunch of garbage all over it. Then I heard someone say you need to put RTV on the bolts. So I guess I'm gonna do that, even though I don't think it's necessary, but better safe than sorry. Hold that. Now I'm just gonna run these down with the impact real quick. Just kind of get it on there. Make sure it's on straight. There we go. Kind of do a cross pattern. Keep getting stuck on the trans lines with the frickin' impact here. And it's dumping transmission fluid all over me again. First pass is gonna be 38 foot-pounds. We gotta find a way to stop this engine from spinning. Probably won't be able to film this, but I'm gonna torque it to 38 foot-pounds, and then I'm gonna go to 70. No, spec is 58 foot-pounds, and then 60 degrees. I'm not doing that. I'm just gonna go to like, no, maybe I'll go to 65 foot-pounds. I'll just torque it till it feels right. How about that? I torqued it to 65 foot-pounds. It's supposed to be 60 plus, or 58 plus 60 degrees turn. Yeah, 65 foot-pounds is definitely fine. Now I'm gonna put the clutch in there with the alignment tool, and then the pressure plate, and then there's a torque sequence for that. So don't forget, it's 7, 16, 30, and then 52. But I probably won't show that. I'm just letting you know where I'm at. And then we're gonna put that on there and torque it down. I'm also going to use red Loctite on the bolts for this, and these are bigger grade A bolts. All right, y'all, I got it all torqued up. The centering piece slips in and out, no problem. It's a beautiful thing. Would you look at that? Bell housing just about installed. You know, very nice of GM to do this for their manual transmissions. Hopefully I don't have much trouble putting the rest of it in, knock on wood. But man, look at that. It's all just going right together. I also had to pull the old dowel pin out of the transmission itself because that was the part of the transmission that was stuck. And but we got it in and she's good to go. There we go. Beautiful thing.
You probably should have been wearing gloves the entire time.
Yeah, I know.
They're all gummed up. Rope.
So we got the transfer case on, and this is a direct swap almost. So since this is the 261 HD, the 261 LD actually has the same rear drive shaft splines and the same front drive shaft splines. So if you're putting an L80E or an NV4500 into your truck, Then the 261 HD is a direct swap. Pretty sure also the 263 HD, if they make that, is also a direct swap. Even the connectors are the same. Everything's basically the exact same, except for this is a little bit heavier, a little bit more heavy duty. We're gonna try to get this in the truck. Everything's prepped, ready to go. Just gotta pull those 4 bolts out, and then we're gonna struggle to get this bad boy in there. Okay, this is where we're currently at. We got 2 bricks holding that up. We're gonna slide the jack further underneath since this thing weighs so much. We do have the transfer case up. Sorry, running out of daylight here, not a lot of light. Thank God the girlfriend's helping me, or else this thing would not be going in today. But we're figuring it out slowly. I'll tell you how I did it once I'm done. Last night, I struggled for hours trying to get that transmission up under there. I took the transfer case off. Took the transfer case off, hoping it would fit. It didn't fit. Yeah, I was just running into a lot of issues. Wrestled with it all night. Could not get the transmission in. So, hopefully today I'm going to pick up a trans jack. That'll make this a whole lot easier. It just kept falling off of the jack. That was the issue. They didn't make it so that these things would stay on the jack too easy. So we're gonna try to get it up under there as soon as possible. Okay, so literally went and got a trans jack yesterday after struggling for hours and hours and hours. Then it rained when I got home. Then I just got under here to move this onto a trans jack. And I was like, I guess I'll try one more time. And then, yeah, so here we are. She slid right into the pilot bearing. And now I'm tightening her up. I want to be careful with this, but you guys get the gist of it. I'm excited. All right, ladies and gents, this NV4500 is officially in the truck. Still needs the T-case put on. I got a lot of work to do. I got to fix this leak because that leak happened after I dropped it on the ground for the 6th time in a row. But yeah, she's officially in the truck. I think I might try to put that T-case on before I put on the cross member just to make it a little bit easier on myself. Okay, so the T-case is in. I'm gonna put the little breather tube back, being that it fell out. I don't know if y'all can tell, but I'm pretty sick of this everything being difficult thingy. It's very annoying. I'm sure I just had clumps of dirt going there, but whatever. Now, can we plug stuff back in? Yep, that's the beauty of going from a 261 to a 261 HD. You gotta love Chevrolet, huh? No, you don't want to force these. Oh yeah, it is. Wow, they both just snapped right in. So now I do have a speed sensor. I do not have a neutral safety switch right now. We will have to get one of those wired up. I might even, you know what? Why don't we just, let's plug that in, see if that works, because I've been dying to press the clutch pedal on this thing. After we got to get this cross member installed. I've been putting it off. Looks like it's gonna line right up though. Forgot about the starter. We got to do the starter too. All right, it's kind of hard to see, but I got the master hooked up, trying to bleed it. It's kind of hard to bleed it with just one person. We'll see. I gotta put my tools away though, because it's almost time for me to go to work. I'm excited. Transmission's in. Might try to throw the drive shafts in real quick. All right, y'all. So it's been a couple days, and I've been thrashing on this thing to get it ready for the trip. I don't have the interior fully put back together yet, but as you can see, and all these are empty. I put the transmission in, and we got all of the transmission fluid into it. I drove it to work. Sorry I didn't take y'all on my first drive, but I drove it to work, and it was trying to die on the way there, so I'm assuming it needs a tune. It's just doing weird things. Like when you drive it, it just tries to die. It says it's in second gear, so you know, obviously the transmission plug's not plugged in. And I did jump the neutral safety switch. These trucks just need to be tuned. If you put a manual in them, I'm finding this out right now. I was like, oh, let's just jump the neutral safety switch. It'll be fine. And then we can go on our trip and not have any trouble. Well, you know, the PCM does not like doing 70 miles an hour in park, and it has no idea why. So I put the exhaust back on, and I still have a lot of stuff to do inside the cab, but that's all like not priority. I did notice after a day of driving it, the other inspection cover is leaking. Surprise. So I'm gonna have to fix that. I fixed the other inspection cover already. That is not leaking, or if it is, I don't know it's leaking because I looked at it, it doesn't look like it is. So I think that's the only leak, which kind of sucks because that's $100 in transmission fluid. But you know, it is what it is. We gotta get in there, we gotta fix the leak. So tomorrow I leave for my trip, and also tomorrow I'm gonna have a buddy come put a laptop on it, and hopefully all we have to do is check 2 boxes, neutral safety switch box in the manual transmission box in HP Tuners. It's $100 to unlock it. Gonna pay him some, hopefully if he gets here tomorrow. He may not even be available. We don't know if we'll be taking the truck on the trip or not. I put the starter in. I put all of it together basically down there. I don't even want to get on the ground. Been on the ground so much. But you know, transfer case is in. That's not leaking. Filled that with trans fluid. Also took a transmission fluid shower. Got the exhaust put on with my mufflers, so it's not so loud because I drove it to work. So loud you could barely bear it. Road noise through the hole in my floor is pretty loud. So transmission whines quite a bit. Probably an error on me whenever I built the transmission. Like I said, I was kind of flying blind with most of it. I had this box all ripped apart. It doesn't matter. We're just gonna tune it out of it. Other than that, running pretty good. Drives fairly well. It's really weird. Like the first time I got in the truck and put it in reverse, I pulled the shifter down and I was like, ah, shoot, like it's a manual now. So that's basically it. That's the update. Sorry I didn't film a lot of it. I've been trying to get it done as fast as I can. I kind of want to tell you guys some things that I didn't hear online. So like these are things that I searched for and could not find online, and that was how to, like, I could find like a how to like tear down a Chevrolet NV4500. Most of them were not 99 to 06s. So like the fifth gear and how to do that, you know, I'm pretty sure I could have done it wrong with this truck. I don't know if it's right in there or not. Fifth gear is a little weird when I put it in there. So like there's nothing like that online. That I'm sure there's a service manual somewhere, but there's nothing online that tells you how exactly to put the rear of the transmission together, because everything's on Dodges. Kind of a pain in the ass. And then also online, they don't say that you got to tune the truck. As far as I've seen, they don't say you got to tune the truck. I mean, I assumed you would have to. Maybe that's just a given that people just know. But a lot of these people are like, oh, put the manual in the truck and they drive it around the yard and then that's it. No, you got to get it tuned. The transmission just does not know what's going on at all. If you're going to do this, I suggest you have a pretty good trans jack. This transmission is not made to be held up with a regular jack. It's made to be held up with a trans jack. Also, the transfer case. These trucks came with 261s. You also have the 263s with the push button ones. You need to find the 261 HD if you want to run this. It came behind the 4L80E as well. So it's just an HD version. It has a different input shaft. This one specifically, the 04 with the 261 LD, has the same output shaft as the 261 HD. So you can use the same drive shafts. I did not have to change my front and rear drive shaft, which I was worried about I would have to do. And then also the old transmissions before 1999, they have to have the 241C. So out there, if you look on the internet about the Chevrolet NV4500, you will only find forums on pre-99 NV4500s, and they will all need the 241C and they will all be 2 inches shorter. But the 99 to 07s, those NV4500s are not 2 inches shorter. They will bolt right in to where the 4L60E sat, and then all you need is that 261 HD transfer case. Another thing is people will be like, oh, just put a manual in it. It only costs like $2,200 for the transmission or whatever. Yeah, so I paid for this transmission. I was about $2,700 into building it and various parts, and altogether I'd say I'm about $3,000, $3,100 into this. So it adds up really quick. I did not expect it to be this much. I was like, cool, an $800 transmission. Nope, it blew up and it was full of carnage and needed a rebuild. You cannot rebuild these transmissions for cheap. You cannot do a trans swap for cheap. It doesn't exist out there, and it's just a hard truth. If anybody has anything else that they'd like to add, throw that in the comment section. Seriously, there's a lot to all this stuff. People are like, oh, LSs, they're easy, this and that, it's all easy. Really, sometimes it's not, especially if it's the first time you're doing something. So if you guys have any like tip or anything like that, throw it down in the comments. I know this is like 5 minutes of me just rambling on. There's all that. If you've ever done an NV4500 swap or even an NV3500 or an all-wheel drive T56 or something like that, let me know how it went. Doing 2-wheel drive swaps are a lot easier than 4-wheel drive swaps because there's all that extra stuff. Real quick, I am changing this fluid out because I have to, because my seal is bad. Not bad, basically, but it is pretty metallic-y. It's quite concerning to me. I don't know if that's because the transmission was blown up before or what, but it's only got about 40 miles on it, if that. So we will see what becomes of this. Looks like my fluid is escaping, so I'm gonna clean this up real quick. But I just wanted to update y'all. Look at the seal on this, guys. That is just poor. This thing probably leaked its whole life after that first rebuild. The transmission does make some sounds. You can hear the gears clacking around in there pretty good, but here she is. She fires up, she's running, and we're gonna take her out for a little rip. All right, so it's kind of hard to see, but you can see when I put some power in her and then let off the clutch. Sometimes the RPMs stay up, and sometimes it just dies if it's rolling, so. Other than that, she's doing pretty good. Granny gear's geared pretty low, but we'll make do with it. don't know why it drags so hard to the right whenever having four wheel.